good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever, wherever you are. Hello. All right, so I'm coming in and I'm just, like I did this video. I was going to do this in a video, but like my storage is like full. So now I'm going to do this all over again. But I wanted to come in because I wanted to share, I got my notes. I wanted to share 3 mindfulness techniques or practices you can use for caregivers. As I am, if you don't know, I am the caregiver of my 21-year-old, he will be 22 this year, who has cerebral palsy. He is my youngest son, Nation, and I am his caregiver. And I'm also now the caregiver for he will be 85, he will be 84 tomorrow, year-old grandfather. My dad, he raised me. I am his caregiver now as he is going through some things. He has stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm now his caregiver and doing the things that he needs to get done to do this. And I wanted to come in because I wanted to share this air cycle. I have a method. It's called the AIR method. It is adapt. You expect the unexpected. You adjust to life. You pivot. You do the inner work. You make sure you allow yourself to feel your feelings. You allow yourself to go through the motions because you don't want to be burying none of that stuff down because it will turn into disease. And I really, trust me, from experience, it will turn into disease into your body if you are not doing the inner work, going deep, really, really healing your traumas, okay? So that's what I call, and then the repeat, the R is repeat. You are consistently working on your personal growth, your self-improvement, your personal development. And if you don't know what they are, you don't know what they consist of, come on over to the AIR Method Network, my group on Facebook, and we are delving into those types of things. And I'm also a goal success and a mental resilience coach. So if you ever need coaching and you want to know about those things, let me know. I have, on the way here, right now I am in Virginia, in Arlington, Virginia. Yesterday, I attended the Women Who Prosper Symposium hosted by my speaker development coach, Dr. Cheryl Wood, and it was phenomenal. It was releasing, it was motivational, everything that all her events always are. It was just nothing but excellence, and I'm just so happy that I did come because I was able to connect with a beautiful, beautiful soul who poured words into me that I needed to hear during this time. Let's get back to these techniques, these 3 mindfulness techniques, practices for caregivers. So on the way down here, I'm from Pennsylvania and I drove to Virginia. So on the way down here, I had plenty of time because it took almost over 4 hours with the traffic, and then there was an accident, but I did not mind. I was calm because I knew that it was the time I needed for myself to really do that inner work, and that's what I did. And then this is where I came up with these 3 mindfulness techniques for you all, for caregivers. They can apply to anybody, but today they are specifically for caregivers. Okay, so the number 1 technique is mindful observation of your emotions. You must let yourself acknowledge those emotions and feel them. Feel them. Like, there have been plenty of times thinking about the responsibilities that I have, and it's not that I can handle these responsibilities. I got this. It's going through the motions of knowing what is going to be to come and actually feeling them, letting myself cry when I need to, you know what I mean? Letting myself just be in the present moment with them. Then there's number 2 for this. There's not number 2, but this is still in number 1, mindful observation of your emotions. So you have acknowledge them, you have understand your triggers. Okay, and that's one thing that we must do, and we must stay calm, because if you understand your triggers when they happen, you will know how to respond to them instead of just automatically react to them. Number 3 is allow them to exist without letting them control your emotions. Basically, your response to them is to just let them exist and don't let them control your actions. Don't let them get you out of character, like people like to say. Don't let them get you out of character. This practice prevents us from being consumed by negative emotions, helping maintain emotional balance and reduce the risk of burnout. And it has reduced the risk of burnout when I do acknowledge my emotions, understand the triggers, what is triggering them, and then just let them be without trying to control them. Because once you just let them be and you just let yourself go through the emotion, then you come out of it and you most likely you'll feel a little better from it if you are really doing that inner work and really processing and trying to understand what the trigger is instead of just immediately reacting because you're just, okay, we must take the time to breathe that air, come down, adapt, then you're going to do the inner work, then you're repeating it. And the more times you do it, for that air cycle, you'll start to come out of it. Okay, so number 2 of the techniques is mindful communication. Being fully present during interactions. Okay, so that means that you are the caregiver, and whoever you are caring for has your full attention, number 1, and they have your empathy, number 2. What was that? The balloons. I love it though. They have your full attention and your empathy. And what that is number 1, listening attentively. Okay, and I've noticed that we sometimes we have a hard time listening because we all saying we got squirrel brain or focus on listening attentively. If you are a caregiver, that is one of the main things you have to do. And I learned this through Nation because Nation did not start talking until he was 6 years old. And his first word was Kai, of course, his big brother who he loves dearly, his older brother, his older brother, the oldest one. And through him, he has quadriplegic. He's quadriplegic spastic. So that means his whole body is very, very tight, including his jaws, his arms. Everything is tight. So he has a hard time. He doesn't now, but sometimes I do have to remind him to slow down, and I can't understand him because that was one of the things. And listening to him and making sure that I hear clearly what he's saying. Okay, bud, I need you to repeat that word for me because I did not understand it. And what makes me so proud about that is knowing that I do listen attentively to people that I interact with. Is he always, whenever he would get things sent home for Mother's Day or whatever, and the first thing that they would put on there for him was, my mom listens. I love my mom because she listens. So listen attentively. Number 2, speaking with intent. Like whenever I communicate with Nation, I'm always telling him what I'm going to do, what we're doing it for. And then I always say something encouraging to him, like, I know you can do this. You got this. So mindful communication. Give them your full attention and your empathy. So that's number 2. The third technique that I have for caregivers is to be mindful of the response you have to stress, because stress is inevitable. Stress is inevitable for anyone. And when I tell you, this is one of the practices that I have really looked at and was like, okay, it's like how you respond to those differences, and how I'm responding to the news of hearing about my pop, who is my dad. He raised me, like he's my grandfather, but he raised me. And he has stage 4 lung cancer. It is in his bones. It is in the fluid that is in his lungs. He's having such a hard time breathing right now. And it is also in his lymph nodes. So it's very stressful, and I can tell it's stressful, even though I'm handling it, and I know that it's a process, and I'm applying my own air method. I'm adapting. I'm doing the inner work for myself, and I'm repeating it so that I can continue to grow. I can tell because my hair is starting to fall out on my edges, and that I always know that's how I'm stressed, and I always end up having some stomach issues, and of course that is what is happening. So the 3 things for this technique is pause before you react. And that is what I have had to be doing when I take him to his doctor's visits. Like, we had to go and be in the room and listen to the diagnosis. And I had to like really keep myself calm without just reacting, which my initial, whenever I think about it, is just to cry. But when we were in the doctor's office, I had to really keep myself okay, because I don't want him to ever think that he's a burden, or that this is going to be too much on me, because I've done this for the last 22 years. I have been a caregiver for the last 22 years. So I've already know how to do these. Number 1, which was mindful observation of my emotions. I know how to calm myself and bring them down. Number 2, mindful communication. I know how to communicate. And my Aunt Barbara, my Aunt Lois, who was in there, his sister was in there with us. And she told me, she said, I love how you listen. I love how you're attentive, and you know how to do this. You got this. And I know I got this. So number 2 thing for the mindful response to stress is assess the situation calmly. Like I just said, calmly. Like, take that time to give yourself a couple deep breaths. If you need more deep breaths, have it. Feel those feelings. If you need to cry, cry. But that will make you even more calmer, because you have gotten that out the way. So when you actually have to be in that situation, you're not just crying. You're not just not reacting versus responding to it. And then the 3rd thing for that is to choose your best course of action. And that is what I've had to do. Like on Friday, before I drove down to Virginia, I had to send off his hospital records. That means getting them copied, get them whoever they need to. 3 different places needed copies of his hospital records, because we are trying to find, I'm trying to find the best place to take him that's near Pennsylvania, versus having to drive him back and forth to to Maryland, which is 2 hours, and he cannot handle the drive. So that's what I had to do. And I had to realize, okay, you got to drive 3 hours to get to Virginia this day too. So how are you going to fit all of this in time? And I actually did it because I thought of the best choice of action. I thought I was going to have to go all the way 30 minutes down the opposite way to make copies and get them faxed. And then I remembered that we have a local newspaper press place that is right in town that does the same thing. So I went there. And this practice right here, mindful response to stress, allows for a mindful response that can help you act more effectively. It reduces panic and enhances your decision making. It leads to more sustainable caregiving practices. Like, there are so many more that I could have added, but I wanted to just do 3 of them today. So you have mindful observation of your emotions, which this practice prevents us from being consumed by negative emotions, helping maintain emotional balance and reducing the risk of burnout. Number 2, which is mindful communication. This practice allows you to understand their needs better and respond appropriately, strengthening the relationship and improving the care provided. Number 3 is mindful response to stress. This practice allows for a mindful response that can help you act more effectively. It can reduce panic and enhances decision making, and it leads to more sustainable caregiving practices. Those are the 3 tips. They will lead to a more balanced and empathic, effective approach to the care that you give. Thank you so much. I am just so excited to be sharing more of this type of information. And if not for my speaker development coach and being in Global Speakers University, GSU, okay, and actually taking this course, the professional speaker certification course, and also the course that I took last year that I got to graduate from, the Speak and Write Your Message program through GSU. I have been able to develop this, and it's all from my experiences and from the expertise that I have in resilience and in caregiving and in all of the things that I am now worthy of sharing, because sometimes we have imposter syndrome and we think we are not worthy. And yesterday I got poured into so much, and I want to thank Dr. Tamoji for that, but I'll talk more about that. But those were the 3 techniques: mindful observation of emotions, mindful communication, and mindful response to stress. Thank you all, and have a great Sunday.